Hello, my name is Jamal Bassett, and this is my gifted case study for the Gifted Endorsement Program. This case study involves a male student at Lakeside High School. He can potentially be labeled as gifted, and written permission to participate in this study was obtained and signed from the parents of this subject. Section 1, Basic Information. In front of us, we have the analytics of the MAP testing scores for this student. This student scored in the 96th percentile in the mathematic portion of the MAP test and 90 percentile in the reading portion of the MAP test. Based on the results of this MAP testing and some of his standardized tests, the student will qualify for gifted services. Some of the observations that I have encountered working with this student is that this student really works well independently and does not like working in groups. The best work environment for this student is where he works in really challenging environments academically, where he is forced to engage in looking up things and doing things independently in a way that would challenge him to use resources that he's not used to using, and things like that are some of the instructional strategies that he seems to work best under. Section 2, Student Learning Profile. We've conducted multiple intelligence survey with this student. Here are some of the results of that survey, and it has been shown from these results that he is a visual learner. Some of the things that we've done were to try to incorporate more visual aids for the student. This young man is also an athlete, and there are a lot of things in athletics that align with some of the things that were discovered in this multiple intelligence test, as far as tools that will help him understand, pick up, and retain information. One of those key instructional tools are visual aids. This has been something when I've had discussions with his coaches and also his teachers, that he really grasps the concepts well when he has visual aids. He also took the Gifted and Talented Learner Assessment, and he was assessed as a type 1 successful personality. Basically, he really has success in a lot of the things that he goes out and does, whether it be academic or social encounters. So he really has really good soft skills, in addition to grasping concepts in the academic space. So he's a well-rounded student. Section 3, Interviews. I conducted several interviews with the parents and discussed their thoughts regarding the most effective environment for this student. Did they feel that he worked better independently? Did they feel that he worked better in groups? Did he work better on projects where there was a time requirement? Did he work better on assignments where there wasn't a time requirement? Speaking with his parents, their belief is that he's really good when he has a time requirement where he understands deadlines. He's really, really successful, they believe, in independent situations. So the young man plays tennis, a singular sport, something where he can kind of self-focus and really harness into what individually he needs to do to be successful. So the parents suggested that moving forward, they wanted to potentially transition him to an online learning environment because they believed it was more conducive to the way he learns. One of the key things about him is that sometimes he gets distracted in large groups. So doing things independent, away from others, was something he really had success with. Spoke to the student directly and asked him in several conversations what he believed would be the best environment for him, and what types of support does he believe that he would need and is he receiving. Speaking with the student, the best support he believes is just communication with his teachers. He believes that he's most successful when he has a clear communication with the teachers, and he understands deadlines. He understands the expectation of the teacher. He understands where and when assignments are to be submitted and where you can find the assignments. If he has a clear understanding of the objectives, he feels that he's more successful. He feels when he's in large classes where he does not have that personal connection or that understanding from the teacher, that's where he feels is a little bit more challenging for him. Spoke with his teachers and his coach, and basically the belief was that he's a very successful young person as far as in the athletic space and also in the academic space. Their belief is that he needs to have clear objectives. They believe that the best way to get him to be successful in the academic space is to provide him with all of the information and allow him to finish and complete assignments at his own pace, because he may work at a different pace than his peers. But if he knows exactly what is expected of him, exactly what needs to be completed, he's a very effective student. Section 4 is synthesizing the information. So the gifted characteristics of this student. The main gifted characteristics of this student are his standardized test scores, which would qualify him for gifted services. His multiple assessment, intelligence assessment tests, and other assessments align with a lot of the gifted students as far as his learning style. The strengths of the student are just his ability to accomplish and complete tasks in a timely fashion and to do them well and effectively. His ability to understand and grasp concepts quickly. One of the weaknesses that he has is group settings. He gets easily distracted in large groups. And if he's in a situation where he doesn't feel that connection with the instructor or doesn't have that communication or understanding of the expectations, sometimes he's not as effective or productive in a classroom. Preferred teaching style, best suited for this student, I would say small group instruction or an online digital platform where there aren't a lot of other students there that can potentially distract him or in a way where he feels a direct connection with the instructor. Option best suited for this student. I believe that the remote learning option or a virtual learning environment, currently the student has over a 90 in all of his classes and is really thriving in the virtual environment. I think this is something that the parents can potentially look into and transition into. Even at the next phase of higher education, he may be able to excel and work remotely. This is something that is becoming more popular and may be best suited for his learning style. Some conclusions about the nature and needs of the chosen student for the case study. The main thing that he needs is clear set objectives. He needs an understanding of what the policies, procedures, expectations, and deadlines are for any assignment, whether it be in the academic space or in the athletic space. If he has a clear understanding of the expectations and he's aware of how to execute those things, he's very successful. So the one thing that he just needs to have quality information and communication with his instructor. Enrichment opportunities that best support the student. I think he's really successful at individual sports, so I think he needs the best option would be for him to continue participating in those sporting activities, and also to pursue in the academic space the virtual learning. Maybe that might be the best instructional environment for him to pursue continuing and finishing his high school and potentially collegiate experience in the virtual setting. This case study really challenged me to think outside the box on how I can connect with my students. Sometimes students are assessed only by how they score or measurable attributes based off of tests. And throughout this process, I got a clear understanding that sometimes me as an educator, I need to facilitate an actual connection, an understanding, a relationship with my students outside of just purely results of tests, scores, and numbers. That I need to understand how they think, how they see things, how they process information, and let that information influence how I actually organize, construct my instructional design for my classes. So this case study has really improved some of my best practices as far as reaching a wider audience of students by the way that I prepare lessons and the way that I can understand and digest and deduce information from test scores and dive deeper into the data and really get to know the whole student.